Good morning. I hope it's nice where you are. Here where I am, it's winter again, but spring is coming. Our theme today is around the earth and our connection to the earth. And when I started this theme this week, I could see the earth outside, and now it's all covered with snow again. But I know I will see it soon. So the interesting thing about the earth, the planet, it has like everything on the planet, all matter has a resonance that's measurable, and the resonance of the earth matches the resonance of our human bodies. And you've probably heard or maybe even felt, heard people say, or maybe you've felt it yourself, that when you're in nature, you feel closer to God, or people say nature is my religion, or nature is my church. When I'm outside, I feel more connected to a bigger picture. And the reason for that is because we resonate with the frequency of the earth. So when we're inside and we're around other electronics and other things that are sort of pulling us away from feeling grounded, then we start to get, in winter, a little stir crazy, and we feel disconnected from ourselves, really, is the bottom line. And when we're outside and we feel that connection, we don't necessarily feel it with our brains, we feel it with our bodies and our nervous systems. We feel a connection to something bigger than ourselves. We're not alone, right? So in nature, even if we're by ourselves, we have this feeling that there's a community. And the earth, in fact, is our community. The plants that we eat become our flesh. But the bigger picture is that it unites all of us. So we all come together as a little piece of the earth, and we can feel that. We can feel that when we're outside, and maybe you felt that as well before. We're going to work again with some opening and strengthening for the hips, and similar to last week's class, but different. So I'll meet you on the mat. See you there. We're going to start lying down. So you can find your place on your mat. Lie down if you like. You're welcome to sit for the beginning part if you prefer. So take your time as you come to your mat to let your body settle. And first of all, be aware of the earth beneath you. Can you feel the pressure of the earth against your body? Can you feel how the earth supports you? The earth has your back. Allow yourself to settle into that support. Feel where your body makes firm contact with your mat. Maybe notice that there are parts of your body that aren't touching the ground, maybe behind your wrists or knees or lower back. So see if you can be aware of the way the body contours, meets the ground, moves away from the ground, meets the ground again. And if you tune a little of your attention to your exhalation, you might feel a little heaviness as you exhale, a sense of dropping a little bit more deeply into the earth. Let the inhale come to you naturally without reaching or forcing it. And allow the exhale to be full and complete. Feel how your body maybe lets go a little bit more, surrendering your weight to the earth as you exhale. Maybe you're aware of a deeper connection between your body and the earth. Maybe sometimes you feel that sense of being part of a greater whole, something bigger than yourself when you're in nature. Maybe right now you feel that sense of connection with the earth. Or maybe your mind is somewhere completely else. And if that's the case, notice that and see if you can bring your attention back, even if it's just briefly. Notice your body, notice the ground, and notice your breath, that exhale, and a little bit of letting go. We'll take a few more breaths to tune into that resonant energy of the earth, the connection of the earth in your body. Feeling the breath move through you and a sense that you could infinitely soften and drop down with your exhale. A few more breaths. And then we'll start to bring in some movement. So if you weren't lying, you can come to lie down. Have your knees bent so your feet are flat on the floor, knees pointing at the ceiling, and bring your arms down along the sides of your body. So a little bit of an awareness exercise of how the spine moves as we move the shoulders in this case. We're going to take the arms up overhead. You can reach the hands to the floor behind you, maybe bend the elbows if that's helpful. If they don't come to the floor, that's fine. You can stop wherever is right for your body, and then you'll bring the arms back down to your sides. So a little bit of warm up for the shoulders, but really about noticing and tuning in. When we move the shoulders, it always affects the spine. Can you feel how the spine moves on the ground? As you lift the arms, you can inhale as you lift and exhale as you lower. And then this time as you bring the arms down, bring the right knee into your chest. And again, notice how that changes the shape of your spine as you move the knee in. Can you feel how connected your low back is now to the earth? Okay, let's do a little bit of movement with this leg to warm up the hamstrings. So taking the leg toward the ceiling and then bending the knee in toward the body. And continuing that motion a few more times. I'm going to be aware of the contraction in the front of the thigh as well as the stretch in the back. So feeling that you're working that leg a little bit, strengthening and stretching, finding some balance. Maybe staying and circling your ankle a few times. You can keep the hands on the leg or let them go if you feel like you're straining to reach. Circle one way and then circle the other way. Right, and then bring that knee in toward your chest. And we'll stretch that leg out on the ground. Take the arms behind you to the floor or close to the floor. Reach out. Feel again how your lower back lifts a little in this case. And then we'll bring the arms down, bend the knee, and come back to that neutral position where you started. Take a breath in and take the arms overhead again. Again, pay attention to the shape of your spine as you bring the left knee into your chest. Give that knee a little bit of a hug. And then again, you can bring the hands behind and straighten and bend that leg a few times, focusing on the contraction of the thigh that allows the hamstrings to stretch. And then at some point, you can leave the leg up in the air and circle the ankle. Again, either keep holding the leg if that's helpful for you, or you can let go if it feels like you're straining. So you're circling one way, you're circling the other. You can give the leg a little shake. And bring the knee back into the chest. And then we'll stretch that leg straight out on the ground, reaching the arms overhead. Again, feel the shape of your back change relative to the earth. Good. And then we'll bend the knee and bring the arms down. Let's take the arms straight out to the sides now. Take a breath in. Reach out from fingertips to fingertips. And with your next exhale, cross the arms over your chest, one hand over the other, bringing the hands to your shoulders. And if you can here, try breathing into the back of your upper back, into the space between your shoulder blades. See if you can feel a little expansion there as you breathe. Feel how the pressure against the ground maybe changes a little bit. And then notice which arm you have on top. We'll do the other arm next time. So you're going to reach out to the sides, take a breath in. As you exhale, crossing the arms the other way over your chest. And taking a few breaths here. Again, see if you can feel the breath moving into the space between your shoulder blades. And if you don't feel it, you can imagine the breath between your shoulder blades, or you can simply feel it wherever it is. And let's open the arms wide now. You can let the arms rest on the ground any height that feels good. So it could be shoulder height or a little bit lower, maybe even a little higher if you want a bit more stretch for your shoulders. And we'll take the knees to one side. You can turn the head the opposite side if you like, if that feels good for your neck. And then come back to center. And then go the other way. And if you want to coordinate your breath with this movement, you'll inhale as you bring the knees to the center, and you'll exhale as the knees go to either side. As always, you can move and breathe freely if that's more comfortable for you, or you can coordinate with the breath if you prefer. Next time you come back to the center, you're going to stay there, and we'll lift the knees up in toward the chest and bring one hand to each knee. Draw the knees towards your body as you exhale, and move the knees away from you as you inhale. So again, coordinating the breath is optional. Breathing, of course, is not optional. So you want to keep breathing whether you're coordinating or not. And find the pace that's comfortable for you. If moving with your breath feels like a great pace, then fabulous. If not, just move and breathe however feels right. Never straining with your breath. Feel how the earth and your body change their relationship as you bring the knees in and as you move the knees away. And then you might try doing a little circling movement or side to side, rocking movement. Letting the earth massage your back, massage the back of your pelvis, the sacral area. You can circle in your direction if you've been circling. Right, and let's come back to the center. Give the knees a little bit of a squeeze. And we'll keep the right knee in toward the chest again, and this time extend the left leg straight out on the ground. So let's take the knee into the right hand, bring it towards the ground, and then bring it into the left hand and across the body. And do this a couple of times, out to one side, across to the other side. And then if you like, you can add a twist by taking the knee into the left hand, rolling onto your left side, maybe resting the foot on your knee, maybe on the floor. Don't worry about your right shoulder. It might pop up off the ground, especially if you try to bring the knee down. The shoulder's going to pop up. You can either bring the arm onto your hip, or you can untwist a little bit. Depending on how twisty your body is, the knee might come down with the shoulder down, but that's not a goal. Right? We're not trying to force our bodies, just letting gravity Draw the shoulder down, draw the knee down as you breathe. Eventually roll back onto your back. Bring the the feet to the floor and lift the hips up to come back to center. And we'll bring the left knee into the chest and extend the right leg straight out on the ground. And on this side, passing the knee into the left hand and then over into the right hand. Side to side a few times, move at your own pace. Right, and then if you like, you can move into a deeper twist, bringing the knee across the body. The foot can rest on the thigh or on the floor. And again, this left shoulder now might be near the ground. It might have come off the ground. If you find that your shoulder's lifted, you can bring the hand palm down beside you or hand to the hip. Or if it feels comfortable for your shoulder and you enjoy that stretch, you can take the arm out and feel that stretch across the chest and across the shoulder. When you're ready, we're going to roll back onto our backs, bring the feet to the floor, and shift your hips back to center. From here, let's bring the knees into the chest, one hand on each knee, and again, move the knees forward and back a few times to bring the lower back into balance or equilibrium. When you're ready, you can release your feet to the floor, and we're going to take the right knee above the left knee. So thigh over thigh, the thighs together, and the knee over knee. And gently squeeze your thighs towards each other. So feel a little engagement in the legs. And then we're going to try lifting the legs toward the body. So if that feels unattainable to you today and you feel some stretch in the hips here, you just stay right where you are. And if you want a little bit more stretch, you can reach for the knee closest to you, which is going to be your right knee. If you want a little more stretch and it's accessible to you, you can reach your hands behind both legs. And then we'll take several breaths here. And again, see if you can be aware of and feel your body, your breath in the back of your body. So maybe in the back of the waist, the back of the hips. And for those of you who are here and thinking, this would be great if I could feel a little bit more stretch in this position. If that's not you and you're feeling enough stretch or enough sensation, then you just ignore the next instruction and just breathe and enjoy. If you want a little bit more, you're going to move your lower legs a little further away from your upper legs, so less bend. You'll reach down towards your ankles and use your lower legs as levers. So you want to be really gentle with this and especially check in with your knees. You're drawing the legs towards you and you might feel as you do this a little more stretch into the outer glutes. When you're ready, you can release the legs, uncross the legs, bringing the feet to the floor side by side, and open and close your knees a few times, the opposite movement that we were just doing with the legs folded over each other. So you can open and close a few times. And then we'll move into that position on the other side. So your left knee comes over your right knee. And you're gently squeezing the thighs towards each other. And then you're either going to leave the foot on the ground, or you can reach towards your left knee, or reach right behind your right leg, both legs really. And then wherever you find yourself, come back to your breath. Feel the breath pressing into the back of the body. Feel the ground. You're a little restricted with the breath against the ground because of your position. Let's see if you can feel that breath moving. So again, only if you feel like you would really appreciate a little bit more stretch here, Then you can move the lower legs a little bit away from the upper legs. Reach down for the ankles or the calves. If you can't reach, you know that probably you don't need this extra bit. And you're going to gently draw the legs in towards you, being gentle and cautious, especially with your knees. Good. And then let's slowly release. Again, we'll bring the feet side by side, knees side by side, open and close the knees. If you want to coordinate your breath here, you could inhale as you open, exhale as you close the knees, or again, just move and breathe freely. Great. As your knees come back together this time, let's roll over onto one side and come to a seated position. So in your seated position, you might appreciate having a blanket underneath your hips to sit on, just to raise the hips up a little bit, which is going to allow your lower back to maybe come into a slightly more neutral position. When we're sitting on the ground, the pelvis tends to tuck, the lower back tends to round. And as we, within reason, as we get the hips higher, the knees tend to be lower than the hips, and that's sort of the goal if you can get there. But if your hips are really tight and the knees are way up here, it's going to be very difficult to to bring the knees down. So that's fine. You just find a position that's as comfortable for you as possible. And then we're actually going to stretch the legs straight out. And then you want to have your sit bones sort of towards the front edge of your blanket. So you're almost like you're sliding off a little bit. So again, that's going to help tilt the pelvis forward a bit and take some of that flexion out of your lower lumbar spine. So from here, we're going to take the right knee and we'll bring it in towards the body and then bring the knee down towards the floor. Now, if you have a blanket or a block and you need to support that knee, go right ahead. My blocks are just over here, so I'm going to get my blocks and then I can show you exactly how that would work. So we've got one straight leg, one knee may be propped with a block. And if you feel a lot of stretch in the long leg, the leg that's straight, your left leg, you could tuck a block or a blanket under that knee to give it a little bit of bend, take some of that stretch out. We'll start with the hands behind the body and use them to support an upright position for your spine. So we're simply lifting the spine long by using the hands on the ground to support. And if this feels like a stretch for you, and for many people this will already feel like a stretch, you might just stay here and ignore all the rest of the instructions. Maybe move your body a little forward and use your hands to support that. And if you feel like you've got more room to move, we're going to lift up the arms, really lengthen the spine, and as you exhale, keep your spine long and let your hands come down onto your leg. And then from there, you're going to lift the spine tall and breathe in, trying to find a little arch in the back, and then exhale, slide the hands forward. Think about leading with your chest, not rounding your back. So breath in. If there's any more movement you can take forward, go ahead. If not, stay where you are. And when you've reached kind of the limit that you can comfortably go, keeping the spine long, you can allow the body to relax forward. Let the head sink down. The hands can stay on the leg, or if you like, they can come to the floor beside your leg. And then the idea here is you're simply breathing. And see where you feel the breath here. No particular instruction to feel at any particular place. But notice, what do you feel? Maybe let your body sink down another inch. If you find you've gone too far, you just walk your hands back and lift up a little further. When you're ready to come up, you'll come up with a breath in, reaching the arms overhead, and then exhale to release. And we'll switch sides. So you'll stretch out your right leg. You can give both legs a little shake if you like. And then your left knee comes in. And again, you can prop that knee with a block if you like, or blanket or cushion, whatever's handy. The other knee, again, you could place a block there or a blanket under the knee if you find that there's a lot of stretch. So let's start with the hands behind. Lift the spine tall. Keep your right leg active. So toes point to the ceiling. Heel on the ground. And if you feel like you've got a little forward movement that's available to you, you could extend your arms overhead, breathing in. As you exhale, come forward, hinging at your hips, so you're not rounding the lower back. And this might mean you literally go forward a half an inch or less, or not at all, right? And then our work here is to lengthen the spine as you breathe in. And if there's room to move forward, you gently slide into the pose a little bit more on your exhale. So inhale is lengthening, lifting the heart, keeping the spine long. Exhale, maybe releasing a little forward. And again, once you've taken as many breaths as you need to find a place where that's enough stretch for you right now, you can relax the back, maybe move the hands from the leg to the floor if you like. Let the head come down and take a few breaths here. Any amount forward that's right for you. So your pose may very well not look anything like my pose or anyone else's pose. You might be up here with, feeling a lovely stretch without having to do a more extreme version. When you're ready to come up, we'll come up with a breath in, raising the arms overhead, and then exhale to release your arms to the sides. You'll stretch out both legs. You can lean back on your hands if you like for support and give your legs a little shake and maybe move the feet a bit apart and take them side to side. I'm not sure if you can actually see my feet in the screen, but I'm moving them like windshield wipers side to side and feeling that movement in the hip joints. Right, for the next one, we're going to bring both knees in towards the chest. And what you'll find as you do that is your back really has to round. You can't very easily or even at all keep a long spine when your knees are in. The back has to round to accommodate the hips and the legs. So we're going to take the knees to the sides. And as the knees come to the sides, depending on how far they go, you'll be able to lift the spine higher and higher. Or longer and longer. And the reason for that is as the knees come apart, it gives room for the pelvis to come back upright, right? I don't know if you can see this in the screen, but I bring my knees in. My pelvis has to move back to accommodate my legs. As I take the knees apart, my pelvis can kind of shift and tilt forward. And then I'm sitting on my sit bones, those two bones at the bottom of my pelvis, and my weight is off my tailbone. So you can bring the knees apart, maybe use your blocks to support your legs if you like. And again, you might look very different in this pose from me. Your knees might come right to the ground, or you might have blocks, in the tallest positions holding your knees up, and you're just going to stay here and support yourself with the hands from behind. So wherever we are, we're using the hands behind to support a long spine and that little bit tilt forward, excuse me, of the pelvis. And for those of you who are more flexible and you're thinking to yourself, I really like this pose and I want more, then I have something for you. And if you're not thinking that, maybe just stay right where you are, or you can bring your hands forward to your ankles and use that little bit of leverage to lift the spine tall. And if you're someone who wants a little bit more here, again, without rounding your low back, you're going to, with an exhale, come forward a little bit. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, maybe come forward. You're hinging at your hips, not in the spine. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, come forward. And you can do that as many times as you like. At some point, you might take your hands to support you to the ground. And then just as with the last pose, when you get to the point where you can't go further without creating strain or injury, please don't do that. You can allow your back to round and your head to come down. And here again, take your breath into wherever you feel it in your body. And be aware, stay tuned in. Where do you feel breath? Where do you feel stretch? When you're ready to come up, you can lift up slowly, and we'll take the hands to the outer knees, bring the knees in together, and stretch the legs out. Again, you can give the legs a little shake. Maybe lean back on your hands, separate the feet a little, and go side to side like windshield wipers, releasing the hips. Great. And then we're going to come into a twist, a seated twist here. So we'll start by taking the right knee, bringing it in towards the body. And then you're going to take that foot and cross it over to the outside of your left leg. If your foot does not come flat to the ground, or one of your sit bones is lifted up to try to get your foot flat to the ground, skip the stepping over part. Just keep your foot on the inside of the leg. Okay. If you can cross the leg over, it means you're going to get a little bit more stretch into the side of the leg and the hip, but you can do the twist either way, and it's a better twist if we can get anchored through the foot. So whether it's on one side of the leg or the other is not so important, but we want to have that anchor through the foot. And we want to have an anchor, a light anchor on the sit bones. So when we do seated twists, we want to really make sure we're not leveraging the twist and forcing the body. So if when you come into the twist you feel that one sit bone needs to lift a little bit, that's fine. Let that happen. So now we have the left hand on the right knee, and you can turn your body a little bit towards the left and take your right arm up and use that lifting of the right arm to lengthen the spine as we twist. So big breath in. As you bring the hand down, bring it just behind your right hip, press down into the ground, lift your spine tall, and turn to look over your right shoulder. You can keep your left hand on your knee, or if you like, you could wrap the arm around your knee, or for some of you, it might be accessible to bring the outside of your elbow to the outside of your knee. But whatever version is comfortable for you, the idea is that we're really spiraling up out of the ground. You might feel your two sit bones and then the spiral up from there. If you had to lean a little bit and shift your left sit bone forward a bit to find the twist, that's fine. We don't want to be too rigid in a twist. So keeping it nice and long and light. And let's slowly unwind. Come back to the center. You can uncross your right leg, and we'll go to the other side. So left knee comes up. The foot crosses over as long as you can bring the foot flat down and you're not shifting awkwardly to the side in this position. Otherwise, foot stays to the inside of your right leg. Hands around the knee. Use that little bit of leverage to turn your body a little bit toward the knee and lengthen up. You'll keep your right hand on your knee. Lift the left arm and use that lift to really lengthen. Breathe in and find length in your body, and then turn towards the left. Bring your hand to the ground. Use that hand on the ground to lift your spine tall. And again, the hand or the arm could wrap around the leg, or elbow to the outside if that's accessible to you. And we'll breathe here for a few more breaths. Keep lifting. Use the hand behind you to keep on lifting. When we twist, especially seated twist, length is really important to keep the spine in a nice aligned position. Let's slowly release around to the front. We'll stretch both legs out, give them a little shake. Right, and then let's lift both arms up. Breathing in, exhale with a long spine, come forward. It could be that millimeter again. Take a breath in and lengthen, so it's like you're trying to find a little bit of arch in your low back, and then exhale, slide forward. Again, you might be here, just trying to stay upright. And that's great. If you're feeling a stretch in the back of your legs and you're feeling your maybe the lower back getting a little bit of movement and stretch, then that's fine. You do not have to touch your feet or bring your head to your knees or anything like that. When you've gone as far forward as you can, just like in the other pose that we did, or a couple poses we did this actually, you can exhale and let your back round and let your head come down. And we'll take a few breaths here. Try to let your head release, shoulders relax. There's nowhere we're trying to get. We're just letting the body unwind as you breathe. When you're ready to come up, lift with a long spine, come all the way up. Reach the arms overhead, breathe in, exhale, and release. We're going to make our way to standing now, so you can get there however you like. And when you come up, you might do a few rotations with your shoulders, either together or if you like, you can one at a time rotate the shoulders forward and then back, or back and then forward. Right, and then maybe do a little movement for the hips. We've been sitting for quite a while, circling the hips. A few times in one direction, and then you can switch and go the other way. Great, and then let's come back to the center. So last week we worked with Utkatasana, the chair pose, and we're going to work with the chair pose again today with a different variation from what we did last week. So stay with me, stay tuned. We're going to take the arms up with a breath in. As you exhale, bend your knees and bring your hands to your thighs. Keep the chest lifting. So if I show you this pose from the side, you're lifting up with the breath in. As you come forward, kind of stick your tailbone out a little bit. Send the hips back and down. Keep the chest lifted. I'm not sure if that's clear. And then coming up. So the difference would be if you were to round the back and come forward like this, or even more forward. So we don't want to do that. We want to let the tail lift a little bit. Chest stays open, hips move back, and this time let's stay in the pose. So coming up, coming into chair or Utkatasana pose. You can use your hands for support on your legs, no problem. If you want to work a little bit more, raise the arms up and sink the hips down. Take a couple of breaths here. And when you're ready, lift up and release. Give your legs a little shake. Great, and then come back to mountain pose or Tadasana. And we'll do a little bit of work with the shoulders. So we're moving towards a pose some of you might be familiar with called eagle pose. And this is a class on grounding, and so you might find it a little bit interesting that eagle is our mascot for today's class. But this pose, it's not reminiscent of an eagle soaring through the sky. This is a pose of that laser sharp focus that we know the eagle to have, right? The eagle eye. So it's really about coming into focus, and really we narrow the body. We bring everything into the center. It's like we're focusing a lens, right? And that's the energy of the eagle, and that's the energy of spring. Everything comes into focus, and we wait and we watch, and then when the time is right, we take flight, or we grow into the plants that will start to emerge once the snow leaves again. All right, so let's try the arms of the eagle, and there's a few options here for you, so you can find one that works for you. Taking the arms to the sides, taking a breath in. As you exhale, cross one arm over the other. I'm crossing my right over left. You can do whichever you want to start with. So elbow over elbow, bring your hands to your shoulders. And this is the first variation. So if this is what your shoulders feel good with today, you might just stay right here. And for those of you who have a little bit more movement in the shoulders and can get the elbows one on top of the other, you might bring the backs of the hands towards each other. Now this part is often tricky for people, is the next part. So I've got my hands lifted, right? Elbow over elbow, backs of the hands coming towards each other, right? So if I want to clasp my hands, I'm going to take the hand that's lower, closer to my face. I'm going to tuck it under the hand that's above and just bring my fingertips to the base of my thumb. Please don't pull on your thumb and do this kind of thing. That can be hard on your wrist and your thumb. So if you can't quite reach around, you can hold on to a belt or a sock or something like that, or you can simply just hold your hands apart. You're still going to get stretch in the shoulders, or you can bring the hands back to the shoulders. Okay, so that's the arm position. Let's try the other side, but before we do, release your arms, bring your hands behind your back, interlace your fingers, and reach the arms down while you reach the chest up. So a little bit of the opposite movement here. And then when you're ready, we'll release the arms to the sides and other arm on top. So for me, it's the left arm. If you did the left arm already, it'll be the right arm for you. Hands to the shoulders. And then again, you can bring the backs of the hands towards each other. And if you still have a little bit more flexibility in your shoulders to work with, you could tuck your bottom hand, the one closer to your face, underneath the thumb side. So you're holding the base of your thumb. Any variation that works for you. Okay, let's release. Take the arms out, breathing in, and then exhale, arms behind your back. Inhale and lift the chest. Take a couple of breaths here. And then release and shake right from the shoulders out to the hands. So let's go back to the legs. So the eagle pose has a leg component and it has an arm component. We're going to practice the leg component first, and then we'll put the arms together, and then the legs will come in. So the legs of the eagle pose start in Utkatasana, the chair pose, and then from there you're going to lift one leg up and over, bringing the knee over the knee, just like we did when we were lying down on the ground today. So you can breathe in, reach up. As you exhale, come to your chair pose or the half squat pose. You can rest the hands on the thighs. We'll shift the weight to the left foot and come to the toes of your right foot. This might be as far as you go. If you want to try going to the next level, you're going to take the leg, cross it over. Now your toes could come to the ground to help support you, or they could hang in the air, or if it's available to you, you might tuck your toes behind your calf. And then, maybe balance gets a bit tricky, so you can bring the arms to the sides and find your balance. It's okay if you wave around like I did to find your balance, no problem. You might sit down a little more. When you lift out of the pose, lift the knee, lift the arms, breathe in, and then exhale to release. So what makes eagle a tricky pose for balancing in is that everything comes into the center. Right? Balance is easier when we're all spread out. As we come in eagle pose, it gets a little trickier. So making sure that your standing foot feels really firmly, solidly planted, and then using your attention, your gaze, your focus to help you to balance. So if you focus on one spot, ideally something that's not moving. So if you're looking at me on the screen, you might get a little bit wobbly with me. So look at something that's not moving and use that to help you keep your focus. So we'll try the other side. So take a breath in, coming up. Exhale, Utkatasana. Shifting to your right foot. Again, you might just stop here with the toes of the left foot on the ground, feeling that weight shift. If you want to go further, cross the leg over. Again, toes could be on the ground or just hanging there, or you might tuck your foot in behind if that's accessible. Again, it does make balance a little trickier. Maybe arms to the sides if you like. That's going to help balance. It won't be helpful when we go to the full pose, but it's helpful here. When you're ready to come out, lift the knee, lift the arms, breathe in, exhale to release. You can give your body a little shake, let that go. So if balance is challenging for you today, you might skip the arms of this pose, and you might use the arms to the sides or even hold on to a wall if you've got one handy. And if you're ready for a little more challenge, especially in the balance department, you can try putting the arms and legs together with me now. So we'll take the arms to the sides, take a breath in. As you exhale, bring your right arm over your left, hands to shoulders, backs of the hands moving towards each other or reaching right around to find the base of your thumb with your bottom hand. And then around or between, or probably not under, but maybe a little over, you want to find a place that you can cast your gaze. Right, so find that. And then as you exhale, sink down into Utkatasana. And then we'll shift the weight to the right foot. Come onto the toes of the left. Lift the left leg up and over. Maybe tuck the foot behind or just leave it hanging there. If you can, sit down a little more. Maybe raise the elbows, lift the chest, and feel that focus. Maybe you feel wobbly, but feel that focus. If you need to bring your toes down, bring them down. If you need to release your arms and spread them out for balance, go ahead. When you're ready to come out, you're going to lift up, breathing in, exhale, and release. Take a breath or two here in Tadasana. And then we'll find our focus and grounding in Eagle on the other side. So arms to the sides, breathing in. As you exhale, left arm over the right, hands to shoulders, backs of the hands together, or reaching for the base of your thumb if that's accessible. Take a breath in. As you exhale, squatting down, keeping the knees over the heels, hips moving back, chest lifting, tailbone lifting. Shift your weight over onto your left foot. Take your right leg, cross it over, sit down a little more. You can tuck your foot in behind or leave it on the floor, whatever needs to happen. Keep your gaze steady. And then when you're ready, again, if you want, you can balance out here, but when you're ready to come out, you're going to lift the knee, lift the arms, exhale, and come back to mountain pose or Tadasana. And take a breath or two here. Feel letting go of the eagle pose, letting go of the effort of the pose. Coming back to this balanced place with both feet on the ground. And then to give a little bit of release to the hips and shoulders after eagle pose, we're going to start by doing a forward bend. So you take a breath in. We'll do this dynamically. So you'll breathe in as you lift the arms, exhale, come forward, either the hands to the knees or the shins or reaching further down if you like, and then coming back up. So inhale to lift, exhale, any amount forward that is appropriate for you today. You can stay for a few breaths if you like. You might take your hands or your forearms to your thighs. Or you could let the body dangle, reaching toward the ground, letting the head release. Keep your knees soft. Don't try to straighten your legs. And then when you come up, take a breath in and reach all the way up. And exhale to release. So in mountain posture, let's take a moment back to the ground momentarily. But before we do that, take a moment to feel the effects of the practice today on your body. Feel your hips, feel your shoulders, feel your feet on the ground. Let your weight sink slightly into your heels and imagine that your heels have roots that go down through the floor into the earth, even if the earth is several floors beneath you. Imagine those roots going straight down through every layer of the building into the earth, right into the ground. And then feel that perhaps because of that deeply grounded feeling through your feet and your lower body, just like a tree, the deeper the roots go, the lighter and more lifted and supported. So feel how the trunk of your body represents the trunk of, and it lift and grow towards the, as the roots go down into the earth. Right, and then let's bend and straighten the knees, shake out the arms, and just give yourself a little shake. Let all that effort go. And we're going to come to the mat, and if you have blocks, bring them with you. If not, you might want cushions or blankets. We're going to do the pose where the knees come apart and rest to the side. So I know not everyone needs any support there. So if you don't, that's fine. And if you do need support, rolled blankets or towels or blocks would be helpful. So you're going to make your way to the ground as you're ready. And because eagle is so much inward, right? We're bringing the arms forward, bringing the legs forward. And this kind of forward hunched position is unfortunately a position that we spend probably too much time in already. You know, legs crossed, hunched over. And so we want to make sure that we're not going to carry that energy out into our day with us. We want to, again, open the body a little bit more. So here's where you might appreciate your blocks as you come to lie down, taking the soles of the feet together, the knees apart, and you can rest your knees on the blocks or blankets or towels or cushions, whatever you've got there, or not. And then if it's comfortable for you, arms straight out to the sides or a little higher up, maybe bending the elbows. The main thing is that you want the elbows and the backs of your hands on the ground, but you don't want to feel a strain in your shoulders or your arms or your elbows at all. So if you raise your arms up and the elbows start to lift because there's a tightness there somewhere, you're just going to lower the arms till the elbows can rest, the hands can rest, and you feel a gentle stretch across the shoulders, but nothing too extreme. And we'll stay here for a couple more minutes. So we're going from here after into Shavasana. So if this pose starts to not feel so good for you, you can always shift out of it and move to Shavasana at any time. And then otherwise, simply breathing. Coming back to where we started today with the breath. And a gentle feeling of sinking down with your exhale. And in this position, the lower back might be a little bit rounded away or arched away from the ground. As you exhale, see if you can feel the belly button relax to the ground and the spine relax to the ground. Feel your belly soften, the pelvis heavy, shoulders and arms relaxed. You can stay here for a little bit longer. And anytime you're ready, you can start to shift to Shavasana. Now, if you're already in a position that feels just about as comfortable as you could be, you can always stay here in the supported bound angle pose if you like, or if you want to change positions and bring your legs straight or bend your knees toward the ceiling, if that's more comfortable for you for Shavasana, then you can make that adjustment at any point. And then take whatever time you need to adjust and settle and feel yourself solidly supported again by the ground. As you exhale, feel the support of the ground a little more. Feel your body accepting and receiving that support. Let the weight of your head sink down. Let your head be supported. And as you allow the head to be supported by the ground, you might feel the muscles of your face soften and relax. As you exhale, feel the back of your shoulders on the ground and soften into the support of the earth with your shoulders. Let your arms go, your neck and jaw release at the same time. Feel the rib cage settle into the earth, the lower back relax and soften as the belly softens and releases. Let your belly be even softer. Let go of that habitual holding. And then feel the pelvis drop. Exhale and let go of any holding around the hips. Feel the thighs release. The knees, the calves, and the ankles all let go. And as you rest with your body firmly supported by the earth, you might tune into or be aware, at least theoretically, of the connection that we have with the earth. Our bodies are made from the same stuff as the earth. We're all united in our connection to the earth, and we're all united to the earth. And the earth in most cultures is referred to as a mother. Right? Ideally, a mother is patient, supportive, neutral, right? Qualities of the earth. And when we tune into those qualities and we really allow ourselves to be supported and feel our connection with the earth, we start to take on those qualities of patience and neutrality, support. And we understand that we become that for each other when we understand that we're the earth. The earth supports us, and as the earth, we support each other. As you continue to rest, you can listen to the chant that is about the earth and its wonderful, supportive qualities. Om Bhumir Bhumna Dyarvarinantariksham Mahitva Upastete Devyaditegniman Adamanadhyayadadhe Ayangav Prishnirakramidasannan Mataram Punaha Pitarancha prayansvaha Trigungshadhama virajati vak patangaya shishriye pratasya vahadhyubihi asya pranadapanatyantascharati rochana Vyakhyamahisa suvaha yatva krudha parovapamanyunayadavartya sukalpamagne tatava punastvotipayamasi Yate Manyuparoptasya Prithvi Manudadvase Aditya Vishve Tadeva Vasavascha Samabharana Om. As you breathe in now, take the breath a little bit deeper, a little bit fuller. If you choose to stay in Shavasana, you can just turn off the video and stay as long as you like. And if you're ready to get on with your day, taking a few deeper breaths, drawing in those qualities of patience, neutrality, non-judgmentalness, you could say, and support. Breathing those qualities in from the earth, from the practice today. And then gradually you can add some movement, wiggling fingers and toes, stretching and moving any way that would feel good. And eventually you might roll onto one side and pause there and take your time to come back to a seated position. And if you've come to a seated position, you can join me in bringing the hands together. Namaste. So have a great day and take those earthen qualities into your day, into your relationships, into your work, and into everything that you do. And this is the end of this session, so I will see you in our next session starting April 15th. Take care. See you soon.